Hey guys, Argent Templar here. The Angels. I'm doing a collective one for them because the Angels are, well, we don't really know that much about them individually. We know a fair bit about them as a big group. So I'm going to start off by saying that the whole great ancestral race thing, the whole that they're aliens thing, is bullshit. I don't care if Anno says it, that doesn't make it canon, that doesn't make it logical. Ultimately, all things have to bow to reality and common sense, and the great ancestral race is just fucking stupid in the context of the series. It's like the fucking flying saucer in Indiana Jones. So I don't accept it. Here's my explanation for the angels. So in the Bible, in particular the book of Enoch, which is not in the Bible, but is kind of the book that, if you're going to accept an additional book, Enoch tends to be the next one people accept. I believe that Jesus, quotes from it or references it, but whether or not that's an earlier edition of the book of Enoch, etc., we don't know exactly. And since we don't really know, um, and since we don't really know, they decided not to include it because it couldn't be verified like the other books in the Old and New Testament, because it wasn't part of the Septuagint, and that was the basis. But the Book of Enoch deals with the Watchers, who are fallen angels who do not go to hell. They do not become demons, they become neutral aligned angels. The angels in heaven are good aligned, the angels in hell are evil aligned. The Watchers are neutral aligned angels, who have a propensity to breed with humanity and to give humanity forbidden technologies, as described in the Book of Enoch. So, in the Bible, there's an enigmatic reference to this because the Book of Enoch is removed. It doesn't go into more detail, and we get a one-off line in Genesis, something to the effect of, "And when the sons of God went forth and bred with the sons of man, their children became the gods and heroes of legend." So, my view is that the angels are um, they are either the Watchers, they are either angels that have been forced from heaven and have fallen to earth, and they are neutrally aligned instead of evilly aligned. They're not demons. Or they are the offspring of the angels. Perhaps Adam and Lilith are real angels who came from heaven initially, and that's why they're so much greater, more powerful, and more important than the other ones. That's why they're able to end the world on their own, but the other ones aren't. Actually, that seems like a fairly good theory to me, that Adam and Lilith are angels directly from heaven. They also appear very much like what the kind of the traditional view of angels. Ray and Quaru both look a fair bit like what the general conception of an angel is. Um, so the angels, as we see them in this series, are either fallen angels from heaven or um, things from the offspring. So this is kind of my fan-in theory, but I think it's kind of interesting. So my thought is that the angels were the old gods, be they Thor, etc., the old pagan gods who used to roam the earth in ancient times, in the age of myth and legend that all cultures have. All cultures, be they Greek, Chinese, Roman, etc., have a distant stage in the past called the Age of Heroes or whatever, where gods and monsters and demons, etc., roamed the earth. And Christianity is no exception. There used to be these great Nephilim that roamed the earth. There used to be all these strange creatures like Leviathan and Behemoth who roamed the earth in ancient mythic times. So to me, the angels are the gods and monsters of old. And they were imprisoned within Antarctic, because I believe that's where they all come from. Because that's where they found Adam and Lilith, I believe, were both found at the South Pole. Lilith may have been found in Japan. It's not very clear. It depends on the canon. And even if they clarified it like years after the show was made, so I don't know what they were thinking at the time. But I like to think all the angels were at the cell, and this is kind of a theory I've come up with that I think explains everything, whether it's canon or not, because there isn't really a satisfactory canon explanation, if there even is a canon explanation, which I think is dubious. So my thought is that they were ruling the earth. Sorry, I was distracted by the phone. So yeah, so they were the gods who ruled the earth, and then the purpose of the great flood in the Bible and in the Book of Enoch was to deal with the Nephilim, was to deal with these half human, half gods who were running around enslaving humanity, giving them access to shit they weren't supposed to have, and the purpose of the great flood was to destroy the world and to wipe all these people out. So perhaps the first impact was, and I know there is a canon first impact, but it's bullshit because it relates to the whole fucking great ancestral race, which I don't accept as canon. So in Argent Templar's canon, the first impact was God imprisoning the angels at the South Pole beneath layers of ice through the Great Flood. The world was flooded, and God struck down all these strange kind of demonic old gods, and they were imprisoned beneath layers of ice at the South Pole. And humanity, in their arrogance, did what they did in the Garden of Eden. There's no surprise that the S2 organs are called the fruit of life, and that humanity desires them. Humanity, in its arrogance, dug up the angels and released them upon the world. And the goal of the angels. So the angels are the gods of old. Um, they seek to return to Adam, to free Adam, and their relationship to Lilith is a lot more confusing. I don't really understand if they hate Lilith, if Lilith is just a different angel, because apparently humanity comes from her. So I don't really know what that means. They call humanity Lilim, and they call us of Lilith. And some people say that we are an angel, and people say we're similar to the angels. So I'm not really sure. It's not something that's very explored. It's kind of a throwaway line in Into Evangelion that's not really explained at great length. And they refer to the angels as being extremely similar to humans. Now that actually does have a biblical precedent, because angels are basically perfected humans. They're higher than humans. There's this pop culture thing that angels bow to humans, that humans are greater than angels, but angels are actually greater than humans because they are born in heaven and they sit at God's throne. So they're more in line with like saints and people who died in friendship with God than they are with just normal humans. But anyways, so they're kind of like perfected versions of humanity who were born perfect and didn't experience the fall, I guess you could call angels. They're kind of strange. But yeah, so we have the angels, and they wish to return to their creator, which to me kind of supports the idea that Adam and perhaps Lilith were true angels who fell from heaven to earth, and that the other angels were offspring, um, perhaps with humans. And it's interesting because I don't believe they ever state that the mother of the angels was Lilith. So perhaps the angels had a human mother. I don't know how that would work, but Adam was their angelic father, and they had a human mother, and they were the product of that. So that's kind of an interesting thought. That's something to keep in mind as we think about the angels. So ultimately, their motivation is simply that they were awakened from the prison that God had placed them in, and that they are attempting to get back what humanity stole from them. Humanity, in its arrogance, sought the power of a god, and they unleashed horrors upon the world. This is even referenced as being similar to Pandora's box in episode 24, when Sele says, "There is a man who is attempting to take the power of God for himself. There is a man who is attempting to close Pandora's box before the hope at the bottom can get out." Like that. And so they opened Pandora's box, they opened up something God had left, and God did not intervene again because it was a conscious decision on the part of humanity, and God does not directly go against free will. So, their ultimate purpose is to reunite with Adam. Whether or not they actually wish to destroy humanity is an interesting question. We don't know what would happen if an angel were to reach Adam. They may just take Adam and leave. We don't know. All the people who say that it would destroy humanity are people who want to use Adam for its own purpose. Uh, Interestingly, the angels, generally speaking, don't attack until they're attacked first. Um, a lot of the time, they just seem to show up, and Nerve attacks them first, and then they fight back. So the actual degree to which the angels want to destroy humanity and just delight at random killing is far from certain. Um, this whole thing could just be a great misunderstanding. And I find it hard to really call the angels evil because they are simply doing what they're programmed to do, trying to get their father back from people who kidnapped him and are experimenting on him and are using him to try and create super death machines and become God. So can you really criticize them for that? I don't know. A lot of the destruction is caused by people attempting to fight the angels. They themselves don't really cause that much of it, or they cause it as collateral damage when they're trying to take down the Evas. Now, the final thing I guess I'll say about them is why were they attempting to attack Nerve before Adam was there? My best guess is that it was a retcon. I don't know. It's weird because you think they'd be able, because if Gagio was able to detect that Adam was on the Over the Rainbow and that Kaji had Adam, why were they not able to detect that Adam wasn't at Nerve? Why? And if they were trying to get Lilith, then why did Quaru not give a shit when he found Lilith? None of it really makes sense. So I can only call it a retcon and then they say they fucked up to try and keep this consistent. So that's kind of my theories as to the angels. I know they aren't really canon, but I like to think they make more sense than the fucking alien thing and are kind of more consistent with the series. This is Argent Templar, signing out.